Guys, I know, Cal, you and I talked a little bit about this Saturday, but tell me what it's like hopping on a line with Shogs. Cal, you've done it a couple times now in your career. Well, what's that dynamic? What does he bring to a line?
Yeah, I think, like I said, after the game, you kind of just got to find open space, and he'll find you. You got to be ready to shoot, obviously, because he likes to throw behind the back passes, but you know where it's going. So, yeah, just finding open space is the biggest thing in the O zone.
Yeah, no, Shogs is a phenomenal player, so it's really just staying ready for the puck because he can make plays all over the ice even when you don't expect it.
Luke, can you compare the dynamic of playing with Schlane and Ando compared to maybe playing with Cal and Shogs? I feel like there's some similarities in there. All the lines like to play with speed, but what are maybe the differences?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's pretty similar. Like we're lucky to have a room full of really talented players. So no matter who you're with any night, you got opportunity to create. And playing with Cal and Shogs, they're both very good offensively, defensively. So they make it really easy for me. It's really just get them the puck, go to the net, and make my job real simple.
What was it that allowed you guys? How much work had the three of you had together? I know Cal, you've been on the power play with Shogs there, but the three of you, how much work have you done kind of throughout the season together before coming together against North Dakota?
Not much. I think it was a couple weeks out, but I think it just goes back to like how close you are as a team. It's kind of you can shuffle lines like that, and it doesn't really like affect us that much because we're all so close. And we, like you said, we all play with speed and want to play the same way. So I think it's an easier transition than some people might think.
How does it change the dynamic? You feel like of the whole offense, having things maybe spread out a little more.
I mean, yeah, it helps. Like, it obviously helps like balancing some lines and getting maybe other line combinations to produce. And I feel like scoring five on five goals is very important, especially this time of year.
Max talked about it yesterday. Yeah, you would have liked to accomplish the goal and be the home team these 2 weeks, those in playoffs. But it's also a lot of fun to go into opposing rinks in the playoffs and get wins. I mentioned that's the only NCHC semifinal. There was one NCHC semifinal there in the history of the league at the Ralph, but there were less than 3,000 people, for those games during COVID. What are your guys' thoughts on being that underdog, being that villain going into these opposing venues in the NCHC playoffs?
Yeah, obviously if you can go in there and steal one in their building, it's obviously a lot of fun, kind of taking the crowd out of it early like we did in ODAC, and I think that's the main thing, just kind of jump on them first before they do it.
Was there a moment Saturday at the Ralph where you knew, all right, we've taken this crowd out of this game?
I don't know if there's an exact moment. Maybe once we got closer to the end of the game, but they're a really good team. Just like every team in our league, and they have every right to just play to the end of the game. And they've shown throughout the year that they can come back in those games. So I think just sticking with it was the most important thing.
Cal, you played wing, you played center. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I think I like the middle a little bit more, especially playing with guys like Bibbs and Shogs. But I've been playing both my whole life, so the transition's not too bad.
Just kind of along what Matt said, you go in there, you silence that crowd, you win a big game. How good do you guys feel from a confidence standpoint right now?
Yeah, I'd say we're pretty confident. Especially like I said, we scored five on five goals, and that's something that's huge this time of year. I know special teams is very important, but when you can produce 5 on 5 and beat them in that game, it's huge.
What do you remember about that series in Denver at the end of January?
I remember it was their decor is really active, really good. We got to be on that, and like every team in the league, they work hard, they skate, and they're a quick transition team. So just being on our details is a big thing.
Holcamp's a pretty offensive defenseman, but I felt like when you guys were there, he was the defensive guy. Is that something you noticed too? That maybe him and Boston were keying more defensively on you guys?
Yeah, I think they're obviously great defensemen, offensively and defensively. Obviously, when they're on the offensive side, you got to be aware of where they are and kind of keep an eye on them. But yeah, I think like every D-man in our league can defend hard, and So I think, yeah, they do it well.
Guys, what's it been like this year watching Max do what he does?
Yeah, it's pretty special, obviously, what he's been doing, and his demeanor doesn't change at the rink. He's still joking around with us, joking around with us at home. So, yeah, he's an outstanding guy.
What is the key to success for you guys this weekend to hoist that trophy in the end?
I think just keeping our game simple. I think we did it very well when we were in North Dakota. Just getting pucks, past the red line, get them in, and then be hard on the forecheck, and then not really giving up too much on the rush and being, well in our defensive zone.
Cal, what kind of leader would you describe Max as?
I describe him as a little bit of both, lead by example, but he's a vocal guy, he'll get on you, and we appreciate that, and he's not afraid to take criticism himself, but yeah, I think the way he leads by example out there and drives plays is special.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Scott, I don't know what more we can get you to say about Max and what he's done this season, but what is he meant to this team? Maybe tell us some of the intangibles of him that people don't.
That we haven't talked about?
I don't know what we haven't talked about, but maybe a little behind the scenes, what he does for his teammates and like.
Keeps everybody loose. I know that. He's got a good sense of humor. A dumb sense of humor. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's just he's got that personality. He loves to play the game and loves being at the rink. And he loves being a hockey player, and certainly I think that can rub off on a lot of people.
We were talking yesterday, and he almost seems to embrace the travel challenges this week and embrace going on the road.
They are where they are.
This is the challenge of whatever's in front of him, right? Almost welcomes the challenge.
Well, I said all year, he likes to be he likes the moments, right? You know, he wants to make that. He wants to score that big goal. He wants to make that play, but he also doesn't care if somebody else does. I think he's very team-oriented, very unselfish. And so he's just as excited if somebody else has that moment. Like his brother had a couple against St. Cloud, right? And maybe deep down, and it fuels them even more. And that's what those kids, they're very driven to, you know, to make that big play or be in those moments. And but they just love playing the game. I mean, you can see it every day when they come to the rink, right? They love being on the ice, and they love having fun on the ice. They work. So, I mean, again, as a coach, it's fun to be around.
You know Sam and Max's dad pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Besides their face, Derek and Max. See any similarities in Max to Derek? Either their personality, how they play?
Well, I saw a picture of Max holding the Stanley Cup. It looked just like Derek. Exactly like Derek. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see, you know, Derek play a lot, so, but I keep hearing there's a lot of similarities, you know, between all the boys, right? I don't know which one probably resembles Derek more, but so I won't get into that. But I know Derek was a hell of a player, and he's got 3 boys that are really good players too, and we're fortunate that they're, you know, 2 of them are here now, and one's coming.
Your thoughts on how your group handled that environment in Grand Forks on Saturday, really from the start of the game?
Well, obviously good. You know, again, talk about they're always a fast-starting team in their building. I thought even when we played there in October, I think we had a good start. Kept the crowd out of it. This time we got a couple goals, and we just kept building on it. And so we never really let the crowd get into it, which is good, even though it wasn't 12,000 like it was before, but it's still 10,000. And they feed off that usually. So that was important. And that was really, we never really let them, you know, get back in the game. Gaio was a big reason for that, especially in the first period. But throughout the whole game, you know, because I never felt safe with the three goal lead and even the 2 goal lead. You know, especially 2 goals in the first period, a lot of game left, and again they've come back on us a number of times. So it was just one of those games where we got timely goals to keep extending the lead. We got timely saves from Gaio. Our killers did what they needed to do on the penalty kill to keep them off the board. And when they got the first goal, which, you know, in the third period, we responded later. It wasn't right away, but the 4th goal was, I think, really a dagger. So credit Bensi and Cleves getting the puck there quick, and Bensi getting a stick on it.
In terms of every coach, you always play your best hockey this time of year. In terms of building towards that, how much of a step was that game Saturday?
Well, you hope it keeps building confidence, right? Again, you know, the nice thing too, we played them 4 times, and you know, we did beat them twice, and we probably should have beat them twice in regulation, but it took overtime. And you know, again, it's different sometimes if you play a team 4 times and don't win a game, you know, the mindset. But our guys have been playing better hockey, right? And we've talked about this, you know, even when we weren't winning the, you know, the January where we had that stretch where we went 1-5, I still think we played some good hockey. It maybe just wasn't obviously good enough, and I think maybe coming out of that, we lost a little bit of confidence in ourselves. So the bye week came at a good time maybe to kind of reset. And I think since then, I think we've played, you know, again, we kind of picked up where we left off, but I think our guys have I think, handled game situations a little bit better. You know, I've talked about that too, just that, you know, their demeanor and, you know, having that belief. And again, that weekend in Miami was a big weekend for us.
I talked to David Carl yesterday, and he volunteered that he believes that one of these 4 NCAA HC teams is going to win the national championship because of how much you push each other over the course of the season. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I think we've talked about that a lot. And that's probably a reason our league has had a ton of success, right? Is we do get pushed all year. We have a lot of great teams in our league and different styles of play. And so again, when you do get to the NCAA tournament, you've seen a lot. Plus, we all play really strong non-conference schedules and play a lot of really good teams too from out of the league. That I think helps you grow through the year too. But it's true. Every weekend in this league is like a playoff all year. It's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to beat a team once, and it's such a fine line sometimes between winning and losing in this league. And everybody's well coached. We got a lot of really good players, and it's hard, and it's a hard competitive league. And I'm not knocking any other leagues, but just I do think that at the end of the year, the teams that come out of our league are battle tested, and they're ready to take on anything.
You guys have had some pretty tight defensive games in postseason before Denver. Do you expect the same Saturday?
I hope so. I mean, I'm expecting that, but they're obviously playing really, really well right now. Winning, they've had a really good last month and a half, 2 months. So they're a much improved team. No surprise. It's usually what happens with David's teams. The young guys have become older and more experienced, and they just play. They have a game plan. They play to it. They play well, very well together, like connected, and they just stick with it, right? And it's obviously why they've had so much success. And we've talked, Bruce, like the names might be different, but the way they play, and I'm hoping that we're getting to the way we need to play too here a little bit more consistently, so we can continue to have hopefully more success here in the next couple weeks.
Eric Volkamp wins offensive defenseman of the year for them. I thought when we were out there he was tremendous defensively. Does he get enough credit for how good he is if that's that part of the game?
Probably not. I mean, obviously he's got an NHL shot. He shoots a puck a lot. He's a ultra competitor. I think you see that every shift. Not like you say, not just offensively. He's a driver. They get they create a lot of offense from their back end. He's certainly a key component of that. One of the key components. But his competitiveness is I think has always been there. As long as all the games we've played him. But I think he's probably improved defensively, which really hasn't taken away much from his offense either. So I think that's what the nice thing about college is, you can kind of keep working on things to become a better player, and he certainly has, and he's one of the elite defensemen in the country. But I would probably say no. People don't talk much about his offense. I mean, I could say the same thing about Ty, right? Ty's numbers offensively have been great this year, but he's another one that probably doesn't get talked about defensively as much because he's putting up numbers, where Cleaves is a little bit more on the defensive side. But those two together, I mean, play a lot of big minutes and defend, hard for us.
Last time we played Denver, came down to 1 goal. Are you kind of expecting that this time around? And what is the key to success for your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to expect fast, physical, intense game. Not a lot of room. They're a puck pressure team. They don't give you a lot of room. Their sticks are great. They get above people. Transition game is good. And offensively, they like to possess the puck, and so again, defending is always a challenge against them. So we've got to make sure that we, are giving them a lot a lot of room. You know, we just got to make sure we're taking away their time and space and managing the puck. Like I said, because you don't want to have too many turnovers against them, because they're going to transition you. And certainly in the offensive zone for them, our D zone, we've got to find ways to get pucks out quicker, cleaner, so we're not spending time. And again, that doesn't always mean it's got to be a tape-to-tape pass. It could be just getting it out over the blue line and, the simple things that hopefully guys, can do consistently.
Any hints on where we're going to be in Silver tournament?
No, a lot of it depends probably on this game.
What are the scenarios? You got the insight.
Well, if you finish 5, 7, or 8, you're going to go where probably the number 1 seeds, right? 5, it's probably going to Albany if Michigan's there. 7, you're probably going to Sioux Falls. North Dakota's there.
5, you go with Western.
Or excuse me, where Western is. 8 is Albany and the other one. So I just know we won't be in Loveland.
Yeah. Okay.
That's one I can tell you.
Trust me, I'm fine with